Hello, this is Andrine, a Jewish American priestess, and today I'm bringing you a reading on the topic of what is giving you strength right now in your life, and how can you improve the strength and boundaries that are coming in for you. This is a timeless reading, but I am doing it during the Omer, which is a counting time between the spring and the summer. And the week that we are in is the week of strength right now. And so we're talking about all the different ways that strength shows up in our lives, boundaries show up in our lives, but limits and how they are resonant for us right now. So to that end, we're going to do 3 readings today. And I'm going to pick a deck of cards. Oh heck, maybe I'll pick 3 different decks. I'll pick 3 different decks from this bowl, and we'll do 3 different decks with 3 different Hebrunes. Let's see, deck number 1, I'll just pull them all out and then we'll open them up. Deck number 2, and deck number 3. So for deck number 1, we are going to use the Queers and Queens Tarot. For deck number 2, we're going to use medicine cards. And for deck number 3, we're going to use the Animal Spirit Oracle. All right, hold on while I go grab those decks. All right, so for Queers and Queens, this is what your deck looks like. For medicine cards, this is what your deck looks like. And Animal Spirit Oracle, this is what your deck looks like. So take a moment to decide which of these 3 decks is calling to you today. And when you have chosen, I'll put the timestamps down below. You could follow that timestamp straight to your reading, and we'll start our reading at that time. See you there. Hello, pile number 1. Those of you who chose the Queers and Queens Tarot for the LGBTQ plus tarot deck. We're going to take a moment to shuffle up your cards and see what card wants to come out to give you a general reading about the idea of strength and boundaries in this season for you. I think that's our card today. Let's take a look at the card and see what we have. We have the Ace of Cups. Nice. This is our card, the Ace of Cups. And this particular card is about new beginnings. It's about emotions. In the traditional tarot, it's a cup that's overflowing with water. And water is representative of emotions. So it's about new beginnings. This is a lotus flower you'll see here. And it's representing our emotional state, how we connect with others, and it's also accompanied by water lily in the background. So we have a lotus and a water lily here. And aces are about new beginnings, as I said, and the Ace of Cups in particular is about new beginnings in love. How do we start a new beginning in love, and how will that play out in terms of setting appropriate boundaries in love, effective communication, and how we negotiate the edges, and how do we maintain our own sovereignty, our own strength and boundaries, and maintain our own individuality as we enter into a love relationship with another person. So Ace of Cups is our general energy card. I'm going to put it up on this, set it up here where we can still see it, and then I'm going to use this to lay down our Hebrunes today. So we have our Hebrunes, 22 plus the blank, and we're going to pull out 3. At the top of our reading, representing what's coming down from the divine, we have Rocha, In the center, representing our challenge, we have the letter He. And at the bottom of our reading, representing our outcome, we have Zayin. Very nice. So at the top, what's coming down from above, which is the letter Resh, is the letter that means head. Rosh begins with the letter Resh. The word Bereshit, meaning in the beginning, has the word Resh right in it. It's the first word of Torah. And Resh is the start of a new thing, the head of a new thing, the head of the baby coming out of the mother, the head of the month, the head of the year. It is the binary transformation of seed and barrenness. So the potential here is that there will be growth, that a seed has been planted and that growth is coming. But we don't know. We can't know that at the beginning of a thing. And so the potential for barrenness is also here. The Resh, because it is affiliated with the head, also represents intellect in the Sefer Yetzirah, which is the book of creation. And so we have intellect as well as new beginnings coming together. This is the letter that rules over the planet Mercury in the sky. So it has to do with communication. It has to do with how are we going to communicate appropriately that which we need to set up in terms of good boundaries and limitations within our relationship. So this new love that's coming in, what's coming down from the divine is using your intellect, that a new thing is starting, to make sure that seed is planted appropriately and that good communication comes forward in this time of newness with the Ace of Cups coming into your life. In the center of our reading, we have the letter He. And the letter He is the letter that begins the word Hineni. So Hineni means here I am, present, available, ready for service to divinity. It is the letter that represents the sense of sight in the Sefer Yetzirah. So about being able to see our way clearly, that we're clear-sighted as we move forward. And since this is in the position of our challenge right now, or our fear, it's possible that we're having difficulty remaining present as this new love comes in. We can see that there's a new beginning with the Resh, and we need to stick with it and keep our intellect about us. Sometimes it's hard when there's new relationship energy, when there's new love coming in. We may lose our heads. We may not be able to remain present and available. And we may not be focusing on what's the best thing for us and the other person. We may be just rushing forward into something. So our challenge here is to remain present for service to the highest good of the situation, regardless of what our current desires might be. He is the number 5 in Gematria, and so it has this connotation of the 5 fingers, so it's about action. So we may be rushing forward into action right now, that we're having challenges seeing our way forward, that we're having challenges seeing clearly. The phrase, love is blind. So maybe there's so much love or passion happening right now that we're not seeing very well, and that we're not being able to remain present. Interestingly, this is also the letter that rules over the month of Nisan, which is what we're in right now. It's going to be changing over next week, but it is the beginning of a new year. Nisan is the month of the spring. So we're challenged right now with this new beginning. We're challenged with the staying present. We're challenged with wanting to have action right now. We're also challenged with not maybe being able to see as clearly as we might because we're blinded by the emotions of a situation. This is also the letter that rules over the liver in the body. The liver, which it's the heaviest organ in the body, so it has this sense of gravitas to it. So there's a certain amount of weightiness to it. But the liver is the organ that filters the blood, and it knows what's toxic and what is not toxic. And since this is in the position of the challenge or the fear right now, maybe we're having difficulty being able to tell whether something is healthy. And we need to stop and pay attention, remain present in order to see what is good for us and what is not good for us. So that's our challenge right now in this situation. And our outcome letter is the letter Zayin. Zayin is the letter that is the number 7 in Gematria. So it represents the 7th day of creation, which is the day after active creation has come to an end and we rest. So the outcome is very good. The outcome is rest and also power. Zion represents a sword or a scepter, and it has this connotation of sovereignty that comes with it, because the Shabbat bride that is married to the divine, also known as the Shekhinah, the indwelling presence of the divine within us, the feminine divine, is the sovereign here. She is the one who holds all the power. So we have the Shabbat bride here, the sword and the scepter, this idea of completion. Something has come to an end, the creation has finished, and now we get to rest. It has this connotation of magic as well. The number 7 is seen as a lucky number in many cultures, and it has this feeling of something magical that's coming, some kind of great luck. So we have rest here, and we have, interestingly, the constellation Gemini is affiliated with Zion. So that's like the twins. This twin flame, this two coming together, or staying together, or being one. And power here, as we're talking about strength and power, the outcome is a great amount of power that comes with the Zion. So your reading is saying there's an Ace of Cups, something new, something love is coming in, a new love. Maybe it's with yourself even, could be with another person. It could be a new inspiration to connection with divinity as well. And we have the letter Resh saying that this newness is coming in, a new beginning, that we use our intellect, that we communicate effectively to create good boundaries around this relationship. Our challenge is Hey, remaining present, seeing our way forward. And our outcome is Zion, power and rest, being able to rest in the indwelling presence of the divine here within this new relationship, whatever it may turn out to be. So our strength and our power here is to set up our good boundaries, to communicate effectively, and to lean into the indwelling presence of the divine. So those of you who chose the Queers and Queens Tarot, this has been your reading. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I will look forward to seeing you here next time. Hello, deck number 2, those of you who chose the medicine cards for your reading today on strength and power. I love that there's a lightning bolt here speaking to the idea of strength. So let's take a shuffle and see which card comes out to guide us into your reading today. There we go. Oh, we've got 2. Okay, we've got 2 cards. That's what Spirit wants today. Let's take a look and see how these 2 play off each other. We have Eagle, amazing, and we have Bat, also fascinating. So Eagle and Bat. So the Eagle is all about spirit. In the tarot, it's number 1 is the magician, which is the one who has all of the tools available to them to perform all of the necessary magic that needs to happen. It's the number 1 is Aleph in the Aleph Bet, which speaks to the oneness of the divine and the connection between heaven and earth. Spirit here with the eagle medicine is the power of great spirit, connection to the divine, the ability to live in the realm of spirit and remain connected and balanced to the realm of the earth. It's exactly the Aleph card. The eagle soars and is quick to observe expansiveness within the overall pattern of life. So eagle is saying that you are to notice and reconnect with the element of air, air being the element of thought and voice and the higher mind, breath, and all the ways that we connect to spirit. So that's beautiful in terms of certainly power and strength is tapping into spirit. And Bat, on the other hand, is about rebirth. It's about this idea of shamanic death. Oftentimes the bat symbolizes this dying to oneself and becoming reborn, initiation into something that can transmit between worlds. So these are both very similar in terms of connection with this world and the other world. The bat is the symbol of rebirth. It's been treasured by many medicines in the Aztec, Toltec, Kahn, and Mayan peoples. some of the rituals that take place for shamanism, or for instance, like you might dig your own grave and sleep in it and then be reborn the next day. So bat symbolizes this need for a ritualistic death of some sort, that the way of life that no longer suits you, and let go of old habits and patterns to be reborn into something that can connect with the other world. So you have to die this shaman's death. I think these are a fabulous pair of cards to come together for you today in this idea of strength. How do we find our strength? We connect with spirit. We connect with ourself and our ability to let go of the things that are holding us down so that we can be reborn into some kind of spiritual power. So I'm going to set these two cards up here if they'll fit. That seems to be good. Okay, and we're going to pull out 3 Hebrunes as well to get further insight into how is strength showing up for you and how can you help manifest it better. At the top of our reading, we have the letter Gimel. In the center, we have the letter Zayin. And at the bottom, we have the letter Shin. So the top letter in our reading represents that which is coming down from the divine. What is being gifted to us from the divine right now? What is our message here? And we have the letter Gimel, meaning a foot or a camel, stepping forward, walking forward, some kind of forward movement. And the binary transformation of peace and evil. Peace, which is the word shalom in Hebrew, often translated as peace, but actually means wholeness. So I think about it as that continuum between wholeness and brokenness. Where are we in that continuum? The Gimel is sometimes said to be running toward justice. Justice, which is translated as tzedek in Hebrew. And tzedek is the name also of the planet Jupiter, over which the letter Gimel rules. In that Sefer Yetzirah, the book of creation, each of the letters rules over a heavenly body of some sort. So the planet Jupiter in the sky, the largest of all the planets in our solar system, and running toward that justice, racing to serve justice in some way. It's the right eye in the body, so being able to see appropriately. And I love that we've got the right eye of the eagle watching this reading as we enter into it. The right eye, which is that which is able to see what is just. It is the number 3 in Gematria, so it does speak to the 3 creation elements of air, water, and fire. And a sort of harmony or balance that comes with a number 3, those three things balancing each other out. This continuum between wholeness and wickedness, or brokenness and wholeness. And the letter Gimel also begins the word Gan, as in Gan Eden, the Garden of Eden. So I think about it in terms of being able to discern between what is right and what is wrong. That tree in the garden is the knowledge of the tree of the fruit of good and evil. And how has that served us in strength? How has choosing to defy the boundary that was set up for us in the garden, that we should not eat of this one tree? So the limit was set up for us to not eat of the tree of good and evil, and we chose to eat of it anyway. And because of that, all of these things have come into being, all of humanity. This is a lesson that I was taught by Rabbi Jill Hammer in her book on biblical women of the Omer, that the mother of all, Chava or Eve, chose to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And although that was a breaking of the boundary that the divine set up for her, it was out of that all of humanity has been born. And now we get to run toward justice. Now we get to be able to discern between what is good and what is evil. So what's coming down from the divine here is being implored to run toward justice, to find that largeness of truth and justice right now. And that's where we'll find our strength, is pursuing justice. It's said in the Talmud, justice, justice, thou shalt pursue. And the Gimel is the letter representation of that command. In the center of our reading, we have the letter Zayin. And the Zayin is the letter that represents a sword or a scepter. So it has to do with sovereignty. And this position in the reading is the position of what is our challenge or our fear right now. And maybe we're a little nervous about pursuing anything of sovereignty with regards to swords and scepters. It's also the number 7 in Gematria, which represents the 7th day of creation, the final day of creation, which is Shabbat. So rest. Maybe there's a concern about rest. Maybe we're afraid to rest right now, that there's so much justice that needs pursuing, that there's so much to be done, that we're afraid to lie down and rest and trust in the sovereignty of the divine. Zayin also is connected to the Shekhinah, the indwelling presence of the feminine divine. So there may be some concern about taking the divine herself into our lives or listening to what she has to say to us, that the mother of all, again, is speaking to us here, and we are a little bit afraid or challenged by that. Maybe we can't hear her voice as clearly as we would like. The number 7 is also a number that's related to luck in a lot of different cultures. Lucky number 7, and the magic that comes with this sword or this scepter, which is like a wand of some kind. So we're challenged right now with the magic. We're challenged with rest. We're challenged with connecting to the feminine divine as we are pursuing our justice, as we are sitting with the spirit and transforming into our shaman selves. And yet, our final letter in the reading is the Shin, and the Shin is the mother letter of fire. It's about transformation through fire. So maybe there's a transformation that needs to happen with the Bat card, which is the card that's saying, take the time to let go and burn off what you no longer need in your life. The Shin, which looks like fire coming up from the bottom. It's the mother letter of fire, which is Aish in Hebrew. It sounds like that shh, it whispers in that way. It's also the first letter of the word Shuva, meaning return, returning to yourself, returning to the divine. It's the first letter of the word Shekhinah, meaning indwelling divine feminine presence. So we're being told that in the end, the Shin is the outcome here, which is a wonderful outcome. Fire, it can be frightening, but in the big picture, it is power. It is strength, having the fire at our disposal. It's like the phoenix or the ziz in Hebrew, which is the bird that burns up and then is reborn from the ashes, like this bat in the shamanistic transformation that takes place. It's the first letter of the word change, shini in Hebrew, and also the first letter of the word shalom, wholeness, as we spoke about in the Gimel. So wholeness is the outcome here. Fire, the sun, the moon, the stars, all of the fires of the sky are here, illuminating all things. This is a beautiful reading for those of you finding strength in the medicine cards. We have the eagle saying we need to connect with spirit. We need to connect the element of air, breath, speech, thought, and power with what's happening here on earth, really tapping into the divine. We need to transform ourselves in the form of the bat, which is to become the shaman, to die to what it is that is no longer serving us, and then soar up out of that grave. The number 1 is, of course, the magician card in the tarot. And the number 42, if you add 4 and 2 together, you get 6, which is the lovers. So it's about connection with other. 6 is the letter Vav, which means which means connection. So we have connection, again, with spirit. And the number 4 in tarot is the emperor, so sovereignty. And the number 2 is the high priestess, which is connection with divinity again. So a lot of messages here saying take time to connect with spirit, connect with divinity, transform yourself, become connected, and step forward into a path toward justice, tzedek, Jupiter, in a large way. Find out where you are in that continuum between what is peaceful and what is evil, what is whole and what is broken. If you're having challenges with sovereignty, with getting enough rest, with finding your place in connection with the Shekhinah, with the divine spirit of femininity that dwells as the Shabbat bride in that day of rest, bring yourself back up to moving toward justice. And in the end, we'll bring ourselves into fire, bring ourselves to transformation through fire, finding wholeness, finding change, finding return, finding the indwelling presence of the Shekhinah. Beautiful reading. For those of you looking for Gevurah, for power right now, this is how you'll find it. Connect with spirit. Seek justice. Find your wholeness. Transform as need be through fire to find your shaman self. So for those of you who chose medicine cards today, this has been your reading. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, please do hit like and subscribe, and we'll look forward to seeing you here next time. Hello, pile number 3, those of you who chose the Animal Spirit deck. Let's take a look at your cards. We're going to shuffle them up and see which card is coming out to lead us into your reading so that we know what is the theme of your reading on power that's coming to you right now. Boundaries, strength, all the different meanings of the word Gevurah. And I see one right there. So the card that's come out today is Spider. Let me take a look and see what the booklet says about Spider. So first of all, we have the earth element at the top here. I love that it's got a rainbow web. And this spider who sits in the center of her web. This is the creator of prosperity through life's work, or Dharma. The spider is an ingenious creator. The greatest gift is weaving the thread of Dharma into a vast, intricate web that supports the spider and those around it, both financially and spiritually. It's hard work, but the spider neither tires nor becomes impatient. This card reminds us that creativity is everywhere. Be process-oriented rather than results-oriented, and soon your work becomes like the weaving of a magical, priceless tapestry, and abundance will follow. So it's about weaving. It looks like today the way for you to find strength right now is to weave a strong web. And that may be a web for yourself amongst your friends and family. It could be a web of creativity where you're going to catch whatever it is that you need to catch right now to find your strength and prosperity. But the spider's web is surprisingly strong. These strands, they've got a great tensile strength, but they're also really delicate. And they take a beautiful shape and a beautiful form. So Spider is here saying, it's time to weave your web of prosperity. Let's pull out some Hebrunes as well to see what else comes up for strength for you today. Coming down from above, we have the letter Kuf. In the center of our reading, we have the letter Gimel. And at the bottom, the letter Het. So the top letter of our reading is that which is coming down from the divine. What is it that the divine is asking of us right now in order to find strength? And we have the letter Kuf, which is the first letter of the word Kodesh, meaning sacredness or holiness, it's often translated. It's also the first letter of the word Klipa, which means shells or shards. So there can be both sacredness and Klipa within the letter Kuf. Additionally, it's the first letter of the word Kof, which means monkey. So it has this connotation of both holiness, sacredness, and animal nature. That is the monkey mind, and the animalistic nature of just the human of ourselves. It has this association as a designation for service to the divine. It's the first letter of the word Kaddish, which is the prayer for the dead. And it's the number 100 in Gematria. And so to that end, it speaks to a 10 times 10. The 10 commandments times the 10 Sephirot, the divine emanations of God. So we have 10 times 10 here. How are we going to manifest our limitations with those commandments, as well as our expansion with those sephirot, which are those emanations of the divine, such as strength being one of them. So Kuf is here coming down saying there's some kind of balance between divinity and humanity, animal self and holiness, between the living and the dead, between the commandments and the emanations, between the divine sparks that have been poured into the world and the klipa, the shells or shards of a shattered vessel that have also brought some sort of difficulty and challenges into the world. Those are the things that are going to bring you strength right now, balancing those sacred edges with our humanity and weaving them together into some kind of whole that will bring us to balance. In the center of our reading is the letter Gimel, and this is the position of what is the challenge or fear in our situation here. How, when we're trying to find strength, where do we look? Our challenge or our fear is Gimel. Gimel, which is a foot or a camel walking forward movement, and a continuum between peace and evil, that binary transformation between what is at peace and what is disturbed. What is it that is causing us some distress, and what is bringing us to a place of contentment? What is whole and what is broken? Peace in Hebrew is shalom. It's translated as peace, but it really means wholeness. So we have a continuum between wholeness and brokenness. And it's interesting with regards to the web is that the spider some spiders build a new web every day, that it dismantles its web at the end of the day. So it may look like it's broken, or if something breaks through the web, it's caught something in its web, and that thing that it's caught has struggled enough that it's broken the web. The spider doesn't get angry. It doesn't throw everything away. It goes out and it repairs. It makes it whole again. There is a challenge, though, between stepping forward toward justice, as Gimel is said to step forward towards justice, which is the word tzedek in Hebrew, and is the planet Jupiter, over which Gimel rules in the sky, according to the Sefer Yetzirah. So we have this largest planet of Jupiter, meaning justice, that Gimel is ruling over, and we're running toward justice. And we're trying to find our way to balance wholeness and brokenness. And it is a big challenge. It sounds like a huge project. But we can do it if we can tap into our sacredness, if we can tap into the balance between our humanity and our connection with the divine. And our outcome letter, which is the final letter in our reading, is the letter Chet. Chet is the first letter of the word Chai, meaning life. And it's the first letter of the word Choshek, meaning darkness. And again, so finding a balance between life and darkness. And they're not opposed to each other. They both have to exist within that same space. Chet is seen as a letter that speaks to contracts and commitments. It looks a little bit like a marriage canopy. So a contract that we might make with another person, or with the divine, or with ourselves. We have this covenant that we make with the divine. On the 8th day after a child's birth, there's either a circumcision or a naming that represents that covenant with the divine. And Chet is that number 8 in Gematria. It's the 8th letter. So with the number 8 here, we're also talking about that infinity loop, which brings us to the infinite. That one more than 7. There are 7 days of creation, plus 1 is 8. And that brings us to, after all of creation has happened, we have the infinite that is left for us. Chet is said to be the foundation of speech in the Sefer Yetzirah, the book of creation. So using our words and our speech in order to create a connection, a contract, a covenant with another, with the divine, with ourself, in some way to bring about that concept of life and connection. For those of you who chose the Animal Spirit Oracle today, we're talking about a spider, and the spider is the one who's creating and weaving and catching something in it for abundance. It is this earth element, and it's very practical in its weaving. It does what it needs to do in its animal nature in order to live. I was recently reading the book Charlotte's Web to a child in my life. And there's my chime, which says the Shekhinah is here. So I'm reading the book Charlotte's Web with a 4-year-old who is loving the story, but Charlotte is the spider who eats insects and sucks their blood, and how horrifying is that? And yet the web is beautiful. The need to survive is imminent, and it does make this magic in its creation. So to find our strength, we must weave the tapestry to catch what we need for life. We need to balance that which is sacred, with that which protects our animal self. Kodesh and the Kof are both present in this gift from divinity. We may have a challenge stepping out towards justice right now, that it might be difficult to walk forward to find our place on that continuum between shalom, wholeness, and brokenness that comes with being in the world. But in the outcome, we find the infinite. We find that connection with creating a covenant with the divine, creating a covenant with another person, stepping into the infinite with the gimel toward life, toward chai, but also knowing that sometimes we have to walk in darkness in order to step forward. And that's part of our strength as well. Finding the sacred of the moment, weaving what we need to weave, stepping forward even when it's a challenge, and creating contracts, covenants, commitments with life and with darkness. So for those of you who chose the Animal Spirit Oracle and the Spider today, this has been your reading. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I will look forward to seeing you here in the future.